Welcome back to the RF Fitness Podcast, brought to you by rffitness.net, your source for online coaching built for and by busy grown-ups just like you who are on the quest for health and strength in everyday life. I am your host, Rob Finlayson, certified personal trainer, elder brother, and once again, sole host of this week's episode. Rachel got herself embroiled in a Leon Bridges concert. I told her to say hi to Leon for me. In truth, I don't even know who that guy is. I've never met him before in my life. So if she did say hi to him, that might have been awkward. Next week, we'll be back to a regularly scheduled program with everyone's favorite little sister on the podcast. I think, is she the internet's little sister now? Maybe. Top 5 best little sisters in this house, anyhow. Well, I have a shortish episode planned here for you guys. Small agenda. I want to talk about the Halloween progress we're getting right here. We have another weekly winner. I have a little ditty about training for goals and chasing 2 rabbits. We have some questions from the Discord, and I have a little bit of a plug and some updates on just like what's going on with my stuff and with RF Fitness as a whole, hopefully into next year. So before anything else, the important parts, the Halloween is going to go to, drum roll, I should insert an SFX here, but it's Beth again. Still and again, Beth wins. Beth and Blaze specifically on the Halloween challenge all month, despite going through a hurricane, have been going hard in the paint this entire time. They are really neck and neck with points, you guys. There's a lot of like multiple workouts happening, multiple aerobic workouts, multiple strength workouts. They're watching the films. They're doing the bonus points. Like it all adds up. So if it seems like Beth has won every week so far, it's because she has, but it's because she's doing the most things. That said, however, hot on their heels is Garrett this week. I think you were behind by only like 1 or 2 points total, which I love to see, my man. Love to see my boy Garrett coming in here, doing the workouts, watching the films. Looks like he watched a bunch of classic spooky films earlier this week too, which I love. He does also have a question for us in the Discord, which was a bonus point last week. Sort of Beth and Blaze though. I digress. Training for goals. So I've had a lot of conversations. I mean, not just recently, but overall as a coach. You know, I've been doing this, like I said, for 12 years now. When people hire a coach for fitness, generally it's for one of 2 things. I want to lose weight or I want to get stronger, build muscle, and like look a certain way. And these are not necessarily unrelated goals. You know, usually if people want to look better, they want to lose weight and to put on a little bit of muscle, some definition. However, how we do that, it should be treated as 2 separate goals. You're kind of doing 2 separate things because of the way your body works. And you can, I've talked about this so many times on the podcast already. Like you can, especially when you're first starting out, you can sort of hit these newbie gains. I think I talked about that in the last solo episode, but basically what it boils down to is this old saying, if you chase 2 rabbits, you'll go home hungry. And what that means is you get paid out relatively equal to what you are putting in, like focus wise, at least when we're talking about fitness coaching. I would argue for most other things as well. But let's say I want to have big strong arms and big broad shoulders and just a walnut crusher of an ass, but I also want to lose 30 pounds. Like what do I do? You know, this might be you. But I want to lose 30 pounds. So what do I do now? Well, I would say, what do we do first? Usually I'm going to say, let's lose the weight first because that's easier than building muscle. As we begin to train for weight loss, a couple things happen here. We take a look at your diet. What are you eating? What's your balance? What's your schedule? I've talked about this before. And we begin training physically. We start an exercise program, and it can be built towards, you know, building muscle, building strength in that walnut crusher of an ass you so desperately want. I wish you'd stop talking about it, but you keep bringing it up. So like, you know, you can do, you know, kettlebell swings and squats and hip thrusts, whatnot, as we are training for weight loss. Does that mean that your body isn't going to grow any muscle, like especially in your glutes or whatever during this process? Not really. No, it's not completely mutually exclusive. But because we are going to be intentionally eating in a calorie deficit while doing this training, it means that you're not going to be like adding muscle, really. Like your body might turn some calories into building strength, and you might be able to start see some definition in certain parts of your body as the fat deposits sort of melt away. That's a whole other thing. But let's say we want to lose 30 pounds. Let's train until we lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds, and we can keep it off consistently. Then we'll take, a week or two off of our deficit. We'll eat a maintenance, experiment with some strength building stuff. Then we go back into our deficit, do that for another couple of pounds, repeat back to maintenance. And we do like the stair stepper program down with your calories, right? Time of a deficit, then a time of maintenance, short time of maintenance, longer of deficit, short time of maintenance, longer of deficit, short time of maintenance. And we can basically do that forever until we hit your weight goal or we get very close to it and we start to really see stagnation. And at that point, then we get to do the interesting, cool thing and flip it on its head and start training for muscle gain, at which point we're going to eat at maintenance or above if we're trying to put on size and muscle. And then we can really ramp up the lifting as well. And this is where stuff gets fun. One, because you start lifting like heavier and heavier weights and you're like really pushing, like seeing what your body can do. Also, you get to eat a lot more, which rules. Who doesn't love eating more? And often what I found in myself and with other clients is that when we start doing that portion of things, like building the strength, building the muscle and training very intentionally for that, is that even if we hadn't hit that 30-pound goal that we're supposing, let's say you get to like 22 pounds lost and you're like, I'm just stuck with these last 8 pounds. When we make that change to like lifting a lot more, even if we're eating at or above maintenance, you can still see some of that fat start to come off. And you might not lose weight, but like your body's going to look and feel very different, which is, I think, really what we're looking for when we say, I want to lose weight. If literally all you want to do is see a lower number on the scale, you should just like cut your hair and take a laxative. Don't do that, guys. Don't. That's not a healthy recommendation. Because judging your success by a number on the scale isn't, the end all be all. That's not how you should do it. So I guess what I'm saying is that when we're chasing these rabbits, right, we should make sure we're focusing on what we're doing and what we actually want. There's another saying that if you want to take the island, you have to burn the ships. So what does that mean exactly? It means like you have to lean so far into your goal that you make it impossible basically to chase another goal. Like, I mean, muscle building especially, I think is a good way to look at that one. If we're in the position, we're in the phase of your goal, of your journey, your quest, where now we're building muscle. If I'm lifting so much weight and frequency and reps and sets, and I'm eating so much like protein and carbs to keep myself fueled for these intense workouts, to recover from these intense workouts, and I'm sleeping enough so that my body can like flood my muscles with the right hormones to make them grow and get stronger, I'm so far into that, I literally cannot lose fat at this point. My body won't let me do it because there's so much other input and stimulus going on where it's impossible for that to happen. But again, you might see your body change, but it's not because we are intentionally trying to lose fat at this point. It's because we are intentionally trying to like improve performance, increase performance. And that's what I like, is improve performance. So yeah, that's training for goals. Chase 2 rabbits, go home hungry, burn the ships. If you don't really know like what the hell I'm talking about, or this doesn't make a lot of sense, feel free to DM me. Or if you want to talk more about your goal, you have something you want to do, hey, hit me up. Maybe even go to rffitness.net and check out the offerings that I have for you guys there. Let's get to the Discord questions. I asked the other day if you guys had any cues. We had 3 cues pop up on the Discord. Let's answer them. Beth asks, tell us about an embarrassing gym moment. We've all farted in the gym, but was it right when the music paused, or was that just me? I mean, I've definitely farted at the gym. I don't know how many times. But no one's caught me out on it because I guess they were polite or kind. They were just nice enough not to bring it up to me. However, for an embarrassing gym moment, the moment that always comes to me, and I might have told the story already, was when I almost died while bench pressing at 1 o'clock in the morning at an Anytime Fitness. And that pretty much could be the whole story by itself. But to add more context, in college, I worked for a summer. I worked for a year, but it was during the summer, and I was working as a line cook, as a fry chef. Fry chef, that sounds funny. Fry cook, line cook, whatever, at the Blackwoods, right? Yeah, Blackwoods Bar and Grill in Duluth on London Road. Go check it out. It's still very good food, I believe. I haven't been there in many years, though. But yeah, so because I was a cook, we'd wrap up, like the kitchen closed at like 11 o'clock or whatever, and then we'd be cleaning and shutting things down, and I'd get out of the building at like midnight. And then I basically go right from there to Anytime Fitness to work out because I'm 25, 26 years old. I don't have anything else going on except for work and working out and trying to get ready for school again, I suppose. Which is gross. Not that I think, because like I'd be very gross and sweaty at the end of a shift. Like I'd be like 8-9 hours on my feet in the shit, just like covered in fry grease. Just like it's, yeah, dude. It's a good thing I was there at 1 o'clock in the morning because nobody else would have been like okay with me being around them in a public space at that point, especially at a gym where you're huffing and puffing and throwing sweat all over the place. But I digress. I go to the gym. Like I said, I'm in my mid-20s, so obviously I'm only ever ego lifting. I decide tonight I'm going to go for a PR on my bench press. I've never put up over 200 pounds. I'm going to do it tonight. And spoiler alert, folks, I did not do it that night. To this day, I think I've only bench pressed over 200 pounds for like a handful of reps, like accumulated over the entirety of my life. That's a whole other story. I'm not a big bench press guy, whatever. But so I put, 205 on the bar, unrack it, bring it down, touch the chest like you're supposed to, and then push it up, only it doesn't go up and it just stays on my chest. And now I can't move it and I can't move myself. And I'm not like deep enough into fitness yet where I know how to like super safely bail out of a failed bench press like I'm currently experiencing. And now it's, 1:30 a.m. and I've got 200 pounds of iron just sitting on my ribs. And I'm like, well, I guess this is it. and, unless I can sit here and think of something, I wasn't going to think of anything. I was completely fried, mentally and physically. Or I just like hold my breath, I guess, until 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, the morning crowd comes in and they can take the bar off of my withered, lifeless husk. But as I'm having these end of life moments, thank God, for some reason, someone else came in the door. Some other dude decided to come be working out at 1:30 in the morning. I hear the door chime go. I'm screaming in the back, like, please help, a little help back here. Dude rolls back. She lifts it off of me. I'm like so grateful. And he's just like, it's cool, man. It happens to everybody. Does it? Does it though? Does this happen to everybody? So I've used safety bars ever since then. I think I used safety bars then too, and that might have been part of the problem. I couldn't exactly figure it out. Anyways, that's my most embarrassing gym moment. Blaze asks, what is your Halloween costume this year? Well, Kiddo is going to be a dinosaur, which I'm excited for. We tried on her, they call it a capelet, but it's basically a cape with a hood and a tail on it. And it's got this like cool, like shiny scale pattern on the back and like these big yellow, like Reptar spikes all the way down the back. And then we practiced her face paint, like dealio last weekend. So which I need to work on. Face painting is hard, you guys. I was practicing putting like the green scales and like really big scary teeth on her, which she thought was so cool in the mirror. I'll be going as probably a ranger, which I like to do. It's my legacy costume that I try and add a piece or two to the costume every single year. This past year, I added a piece of leather chest armor, which I wore out at Ragnarok. So you guys got a little sneak peek of that. And I like this stuff. So I like the ranger thing. I might have talked about this before. Like it's a cool cosplay kind of deal, but I hate having to explain what I am to other people. So maybe I'll just find another costume, or maybe I'll go as a ninja. Everybody knows what a ninja is. I have no idea what Mo is doing. She might go in her skeleton jammies or whatever again this year. Garrett, there he is, getting those bonus points, asks, a favorite spooky movie, most hated spooky movie, most underrated spooky movie. These are good ones. I think I talked last week about how Hereditary might be my favorite horror movie, despite only seeing it one time and never wanting to see it ever again. But then we did just rewatch. I think it was last week. We did just rewatch Sleepy Hollow, which is such a fun, like spooky TM film. Like I forget just how much they lean into like spookiness, and it's just so Halloweeny, you know. And it's just very silly and over the top, and you know Johnny Depp is just he's Johnny Depping all over the place. Um, it's great. I love that. I love that movie. And it's got, is it Christina Ricci? Yeah, banger film, dude. And it's got freaking Christopher Walken, man, and he doesn't even have lines. Like, why get Christopher Walken? He doesn't say anything. He just goes ugh, a lot with his spooky sharpened teeth, and he's like cutting heads off of dudes with his sick as hell sword, dude. And he's got his big old horse that jumps out of a tree and stuff, blood everywhere. It's man, I could watch that movie. I do watch that movie every year, so that might be my favorite, like capital S spooky movie. My most hated spooky movie, I think, is probably all of them that I've seen this month that I had never heard of. They were just like, this is bad. I don't care about this movie. There's a lot of like boring ones. I think that's the greatest sin a movie can commit, is to just be uninteresting, to be boring. You watched one this summer called Bones and All, which starred Timothée Chalamet in it, and I guess you could technically call it a horror film. I would just call it a bad movie, but it's one of those where it's shot clearly very artfully, but like it's about these teenagers who discover that they are like obligate cannibals, like they can only eat human flesh, and that there's this like weird sort of like sub community of people, quote unquote, like us, just all around the place, and like everywhere so it's like Timothée Chalamet is like the kind of the boyfriendy character of the protagonist, this young woman who discovers she has this insatiable hunger for human flesh, and like they like travel cross country and just kind of like live a life. And that sounds like it would be, I don't know, a fun excuse for like maybe like a road trip romance movie with a backdrop of like zombie gore, or like a journey of self-discovery as you come of age, and you know this hunger for something inappropriate is like this greater metaphor for something else, of part of the human experience. Or maybe it's just like you know, like the countryside of the United States of America is a character in and of itself, and these people realize that like maybe I am just a smaller part of some larger puzzle that I didn't have the full view of before, but like, you know, going on these travels and seeing these different unseen parts of the country awaken something in me. But none of that happens, you guys. They kind of just go from like parking lot to parking lot and look at some fields, and then don't really ever eat people. Like, I think the movie's about obligate cannibals, and I think 3 people get eaten ever on screen, and it sucks. It's just, most of it is just crushingly boring. There's a lot of stuff that is just gross for the sake of gross, and not in a fun way. It's just like, these are bodily systems. Yuck. Here you go. It's like, it might be 2 hours long, man, and like I remember talking to Mo when we were watching. I was like, I can't wait till the movie starts happening. And, like, movie happens for maybe the last like 11 minutes or so, and then it's over. And I don't have a favorite part of that movie, not even when it ended, because when it ended, I wish I had a time machine so I could go back and tell Pastor Rob, don't watch this movie. It's a waste of your time. So that's my most hated spooky movie, is Bones and All. Don't watch it. It's stupid. Most underrated spooky movie is easily The Descent. That's another one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I still need to watch it for this month. It's so Ooh, The Descent is so good. It's one of those that like it changes genres like halfway through, which is so fucking rad, dude. I love a movie that does that. Like Dusk Till Dawn kind of does a similar thing where it like pulls the rug out from you, and it's just like this isn't a movie about people in a bad situation. I mean, it is, but now also there's monsters, blah, and they're horrifying, and it's very scary, and it becomes extremely harrowing very quickly. And I've used The Descent and a movie on Netflix called The Ritual. I've used those as inspiration for so many Dungeons and Dragons sessions, like entire campaigns. Um, if you like spooky movies, I highly recommend checking those two. I think they both might be on Netflix actually. I don't know where The Descent is right now, but you can only see The Ritual on Netflix, which is unfortunate because we don't have it anymore. And I love that movie. But that was it for our Discord questions. We're jamming through here, guys. Where are we at? Like 30-ish minutes right now? 20 minutes. God, I'm fast. Yeah, a little housekeeping for rffitness.net. What's coming up here? End of Halloween, obviously, is the end of the month. End of Quest groups is like the weekend after that. We have a big Halloween weekend coming this weekend, like us and the family. We're doing stuff every single night. So I will be running our final game of Cairn in our Woodland Rites mini campaign, mini adventure. That'll be on November the 1st, not this coming one. After that, for the rest of the year, I'm not running any more quest groups for this year until probably January. I don't have any other like challenges or events, anything like that lined up for the last bit of Q4 here, fourth quarter of the year. I'm kind of just tired. I'm gonna be real with you. It's a lot of work, man. So I'll be returning to just like basic head down, nose to the grindstone, one-on-one coaching with people. So there'll be a big push for that. Look for that in November. And there's always going to be available the large teams, which I wanted to talk to you guys about too. And that's the Ludus and the Dojo, and that's on my Train Heroic. On those are both $30 a month, and with that you get on your Train Heroic loaded up a full suite of workouts pre-programmed that you can obviously switch and swap and adjust however you want to. I have a lot of people who do those. Most people who are on one of the teams that are on the Dojo, that one is based around sort of like working out at home or with very minimal equipment. It's very like kettlebell focused, obviously. That's kind of my whole deal. But that's the team that I've been using lately. If you've been seeing my stuff come up on Instagram with a lot of like, I talk about Hot Dad Nuevo. That's the name of this program that I put together this past summer. And now I've been honing and sharpening it. And then that's what I've been using during this entire Halloween challenge, right, basically. And I like it a lot. So if you want to enjoy the direction and purpose of training that comes with having someone else put it together for you, and with the wisdom of experience that comes with having an actual human being put together workouts and exercises that aren't just like exercise salad. Like I put things together in a way that it makes sense physiologically, timing wise, flow wise, space wise. Because if there's one thing I dislike, it's a workout that doesn't have a sense of flow to it. Like it's like, oh, I gotta go here and then I gotta walk all the way across the space to do this. Or like I got 2 exercises on my feet, then 1 on the floor, then I'm on my feet again for this next exercise. Like why not just group them all together? Why not just do that? So yeah, program design is one of my passions. Come check it out, you guys, or hit me up on Instagram for anything like that as well. Let's see. Oh, next month is November, obviously. NaNoWriMo is going on. For the first time, I'm going to be actually participating in the National Novel Writers Month. I am low-key writing a book, a little adventure novel. I've actually been outlining quite a bit, and I've already written one scene, an action scene. Just yesterday I put that to paper. So that's a lot of fun. I'm very excited about this one. I really think it's got legs. I hope. We'll see what other people think of it. And then next, so I want to work on getting the novel written and finished, probably for the rest of this year. That's probably where I put my free time. Work on pushing that for next year, as well as my kettlebells and kobolds fitness RPG program. I want to put that together and push that real hard next year too. So I've had a lot of people ask me about, like, what if you could play Dungeons and Dragons, but like it's fitness? That's exactly what this is. And I'm excited to like make my brain crunch in different ways and make that happen. But that's, again, coming next year. I think that's everything I have for you guys right now. Thank you guys for listening. Again, next week I'll have everyone's favorite, the internet's little sister, back on the show. So it won't be just me rambling into a microphone for now 25 minutes. Maybe I'll actually say something interesting that time. Thank you all very much. If you want help or to begin on your fitness quest, you guys, as always, guys, you know how to do it. Go to rffitness.net. That's, say it with me, rffitness.net to learn more and start your quest. And as always, scroll to the bottom of the bright green page and click on Join the Party to jump into our Discord for free. I'll answer your questions on the next episode. Thank you very much. Stay spooky, keep questing, and I'll see you later. Bye.